All right, welcome. Today is episode 126. It is November the 8th, 2023. My gosh, is this world amazing? What a classroom we are in. And quite a few of you, I know what some of you that are on here are going through. You have incredible teachers in your life right now. There are amazing things that are taking place that are giving each and every one of us the opportunity to choose love or to align with fear, to make a commitment for truth or to continue to feed the insanity, which is an illusion. Everything that is insane is an illusion, and the reason it's an illusion, it's because it's created by those who are in delusion, deluded, not looking at things correctly, not thinking straight, and are operating, feeding insanity. They're operating from fear, from lack of awareness, from lack of understanding of who we truly are. And one of the reasons I am so grateful, I mean, I could cry right now with gratitude. I am so grateful that my mother died because her passing sent me on a journey. Now, I'm not grateful that she died and just to die to be gone, but my gratitude is that she died when she died, and it opened for me the trajectory that I have been on, which is to discover the truth. And the truth is that there is no such thing as death in terms of it being a permanent experience for any one of us. That's one of the things that we must understand. In order to be awake, you have already made peace with death. You do not fear death. You don't fear how you're going to die. There are no concerns whatsoever. I have people all the time tell me, oh, I'm not afraid of death. I just don't want to suffer through the dying. I just don't want to go drowning. I just don't want to go, burning. If you have these ideas about how you don't want to go, then you still have fear of death. Because however you go, number one, Course in Miracles tells us this. If you're a student of Abraham, you already know this. Abraham Hicks, that is. Every death is a suicide. It is a decision to leave. Now, we think suicide is only somebody who takes a gun and, puts it on their head, that's what suicide is. But cancer is suicide. Dying in an accident is suicide. Dying of old age is a suicide, meaning it is already scripted. It is part of our journey. We are actors, actresses on a play. The world is the stage. We are performing a part. Jody, you are playing the role of Jody. Thank you very much. Tree, you're playing the role of Tree. Thank you very much. Israel, you're playing the role of that culture. Thank you very much. Christo, you're playing the role of Christo. Thank you very much. All of us are going to get an Oscar. All of us, including the grains of sand on the beach, including the birds and the bees and the trees and everything is going to get an Oscar because we have been performing our part perfectly. So the script is written. Our work to awaken is to understand that, to become self-aware that we're not the character that we play, that we are the consciousness that animates the character. Consciousness animates the grain of sand. Conscious animates me. Conscious animates you. That is where oneness comes from. We are all realizing I'm not the character. And what we're doing is we're taking the mask off, putting it aside, and creating a relationship with the consciousness that animates us. And we don't know what that is. And it's difficult. It's really challenging to come to create a relationship with the consciousness that you are, because you think you are the mask. You think you are the man, the woman, the child, the brother, the sister, the son, the boss, the employee, the victim. You think you are that. And while we give that power, we are going to suffer through the process of letting go of that being our reality. So to cultivate a relationship with the consciousness, We typically have to have something tragic happen, because it is in tragedy that most people pause. They really, I mean, we pause. We're witnessing right now that with Dondra's family, there's an accident, and it has all of these ripple effects that are bringing people together that before didn't want to be together, didn't want to be in the same room with each other. Now the attention on the life of somebody that they love has caused them to put down the mask, and what is one in all of them is coming forward. What is one in all of them it doesn't have pettiness to say, well, I'm not going to come to the hospital because of what you did to me 10 years ago. What is one in them says, I need to be there. You need me at this time. I want to be there to support and love you. I want you to know that I love you. Consciousness, in order to come forward, requires an opening. Humanity is not good at creating openings. Children are to use anything to connect. Children, great, oh yeah, let's get together and play. Let's have fun. So children don't have to be convinced that they need something tragic to make them want to experience life from a place of joy and ease. That's amazing, because they come in at that frequency, but they get indoctrinated into believing the character that they're playing is real, because the character that they're playing gets co-created by those around them. The parents give it the name, stamp that child with the character. You are this and you can't be anything else. Stamp them with, you are from this lineage, from this family, from this religion, from this ethnic background, from this culture, from this skin color, from this sexual orientation. Today it's insane, absolutely insane how we're changing children's sexuality before they even know what sex is. Before the child even understands what that is all about. There are those who are attempting to change that, stamping those children with, no, you're not how you were born. You are this way. Now, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with changing our gender, whatever, the transgender movement. I have zero issues with somebody who is an adult making a decision fully informed. But a child can't make that decision. That's why we don't let 3-year-olds drive. They don't have the maturity, the ability, the capability to do that. We don't let 3-year-olds, join the war, enter the army. We have age-specific things because a level of maturity has to happen. Now, for most of us, the process of being raised as unconscious beings allowed us to become so ingrained in our character that we thought that that's who we are. So the world is filled with people who are solidly entrenched in their character. And a lot of them, or not a lot of them, many of them are in positions of power, not necessarily as president or king or head of the military. I'm not talking about that, but are in positions of power as the head of the household, the mother, the father, the head of the church, the head of the school, the teacher at the front of the classroom. And those are positions of power that continue to support the roles that we play. I'm at the top and you're at the bottom. That stamps us, that character, with an idea of where they are in relation to others in terms of power. Well, to be able to cultivate a real honest relationship with the consciousness that we are, that energy, the life force that animates everything, requires oftentimes something tragic, because it causes the character to kind of turn off. And because it goes into shock, it goes into, oh my gosh, my reality has been altered. I can't deal with this. So, and I'm not going to say unfortunately, because I am grateful again that my mother's passing was when it was, because it sent me on the journey that it sent me. And after that, I really did not need to learn in such a hard way. Now, yes, I had a divorce, and my son entered into a drug journey for 4 years. That was absolutely mind-boggling to go through that journey. But I didn't suffer through those things like I suffered when my mom died, because I was already cultivating a relationship with my true self. I was already shifting into knowing that I am the consciousness, not the character. So as we continue on this path of ascension, and it's not just one of us, it's the entire world is moving, whether we like it or not. And this is a beautiful thing, because collectively, we have been through thousands and thousands of years of navigating the journey as a human on the 3D planet. We have been collectively wanting to return home to the truth of who we are. To return home to the truth of who we are, we go down the same path that we left home. And the path is very simple. Once you understand this, it all makes perfect sense. The path of leaving home is the path of cultivating a relationship with your false self. So the path to go home is to cultivate a relationship with your true self. But to know your true self, you have to have the contrast. What is not you? You know, you're not your money. You're not your stuff. You're not your partner. You are not your status, your title, your culture. You are none of those things. You're not even your body. That's why we have to get comfortable with the idea that death is not real. You are not your body. You have a body, like you have a car to get you around. You're not your car. You know, well, I guess some people do get identified with their car because, you know, it's the status thing. But if you use your car to get you from point A to point B, then it's easy for you to understand that you use your body to get you from birth to death, point A to point B. That's it. That is it. Now, you take care of your car, you take care of your body. So we are cultivating a relationship with how to take care of the body vessel with a level of consciousness awareness that is helping us achieve a level of well-being that is not of this world. I do things like that for me. I don't follow anything that is pharmaceutical, not because I'm going to sit here and say that it's all bad. Not all of it is bad, because the pharmaceutical world, the medical world, is as good as the consciousness that is operating within those realms. So if you have a doctor, a surgeon, a pharmacist, somebody who really understands that we are not just these bodies, then there is a love, a consciousness that is coming in service. So that's wonderful. But those who do not understand that, and it's the same in any realm, whether it's politics, whether it's the school system, whether it's the church system, whether it's the medical system, those with a consciousness that is attached to their character, and they're defined by how much they have and how much they, you know, their status, and are they, what title they have, and you know, where they live, and how they're seen. Well, they're operating in selfishness. Those who are operating in service are doing whatever they're doing for the greater good of all. And in every single what do you call that, category or career, there is right now evidence. It's easy to see those who operate in selfishness and service to self, and those who operate in service to others. The bedside manners of a doctor who operates in service to others is very compassionate and kind and gentle and caring. They're not beholden to what those in service to self say. Well, you can only spend 5 minutes with a patient, and we got to move you from one patient to the next, to the next, to the next. And there is this all about money and efficiency. The ones who are in service to the greater good, they're going to take their time. They're going to help you be seen, because the life force in them sees the life force in you, cares about the life force in you, is open to collaborating, to doing whatever it takes for your well-being, because they come from a place of service. When we operate from ego, we come from a place of selfish. It's all about me, be it a victim or be it a bully. And as we continue to look at the teachings of A Course in Miracles, we are being given so many tools in here, so many ways of separating what is of the ego and what is of God. My mom's passing sent me on a journey of incredible grief that it allowed me to basically disconnect from my everyday life, which was very high achieving. I was a top realtor, made a lot of money. I was an over involved mom in the school system. I had 3 kids. Everybody was on, different schools. I had one in high school, one in middle school, one in elementary school. Shortly after my mother passed away, and I was attempting to be there for all of my kids, be there for all of my clients, overly involved in the neighborhood and in the community. And I say overly involved because I basically had any time for me. And all of this, not because I was in service. I had to see that I was doing it, all of it, out of selfishness. I wanted people to see me in a certain way. I was painting a picture of how I wanted humanity to look at me. Because if I was doing the right things, the good things, I was going to be seen as somebody special, somebody wonderful. I wanted to make sure my kids' teachers knew that I was a really caring mother. I was going to be at all the teacher parent conferences. I was going to make sure my kids did their work. I wanted to make sure that the community knew my kids were good in school and they were going to go to college and they were going to get degrees and they were going to be successful because I did my job right. I am a good mother. All because I was attempting to be better than my mother was to me. And when you begin to put these pieces together, my mother's passing activated for me an anger that I had towards her because I didn't even know this consciously. I was so angry that she wasn't the mother that I wished I had, that it sent me into becoming the mother that I thought I wanted. But all along, it turned me into the mother that I really was so not as present with my kids as I would have loved to have been. Now, was I there with them? Yeah, but because I was hovering, because I was a helicopter mom, because I was making sure that if my kids look good, I was right there to take the credit. Oh, yeah, it's because of me. I picked their clothes, I picked their school, I picked their this, I picked their that. Yeah, they are all the creation of me. Look at me. I'm the perfect mom over here. My mom's passing sent me into the journey that helped me shatter this amnesia that I was under, that helped me see that my relationship with my husband was really based on anger that I had towards my father. All these things show up when you are willing to get honest. And when you begin to peel back the layers, you see that your entire life, when you're unconscious, is created through reactions to things that you don't like, or some things that you like and you want more of, and then you become, just crazy, and you're going to achieve that because it was so good, you're going to get it again. And then, of course, we can never have the same thing twice and on this planet of ever-changing experiences. So we attempt to force things to be as they were before. And then what happens is you have an opportunity for it to be shattered, to call you into alignment with your true self. But to peel the mask off of you is as painful as it would be to pull the shell off of a turtle without anesthesia. Can you imagine pulling the shell off of a turtle or pulling the skin off of your body? It's painful. It's painful. Number one, because you're attached to it and you're attached to your identity as this separate sense of self, as your egoic character. So it's painful to pull what you're attached to. One of the most amazing things that is happening in the world today is that because thousands of years of training that we have received, specific spiritual true training, the teachings of Jesus, the teachings of Buddha, the teachings of Rumi, the teachings of Meister Eckhart, the teachings of Eckhart Tolle in this lifetime. The teachings of so many have been pointing the way to something new, to something else. And even though many have been following the teachings of Jesus for 2,000 years, few until this lifetime that we're in have really, truly committed to practicing the teachings to the letter. Love your neighbor as yourself. This war right now in the Middle East is giving us an opportunity to see There were people there, truly on both sides. And I only use the word both sides. I know that there are no sides, period. And when you align with consciousness, you know truth and you see through the illusion. There are no sides. There were just beings showing up on planet Earth as expressions of the divine consciousness that is God, that is source, whatever you want to call it. Doesn't matter what we call it, it knows what it is. We give it a name because we have a name. So we project on it a name. You have to have a character. And of course, religion has painted this character, God on a cloud, Father, angry, throwing fire and brimstone. If you're not good, turns you into pillars of salt, just like our fathers. Well, they can't turn us into salt, but they can certainly affect our lives in such a way that we know that we're not loved by our Father, that we disappointed our Father. So we have projected on God this character, and we call it a name, and some of us can't even say the name because we have so much anger. You can't say the word God easily and effortlessly and know that you are that because you're everything. Then there's still work to be done with our relationship with God and where we have placed God as a character on whatever pedestal we've placed God or placed ourselves above on that pedestal and God below. So there's a lot of healing that needs to happen. But in the Middle East, God is expressing itself as Palestinians and as people in Israel. But there are characters intent on perpetuating the separation and the division. But the more I like to follow stories that are not mainstream media. And I have watched so many beautiful, beautiful stories of both sides, neighbors coming together, following the teachings of Jesus. Love your neighbor as yourself. Have no issues with one another. Children from both the different cultures going to school with each other, playing in band together, playing in sports together. There are no issues. So where do these issues come from? The issues come from beings that are in service to themselves, who benefit from perpetuating the divisiveness. So the more people, thankfully, that have been listening to the teachings of Buddha, of Jesus, of Meister Eckhart, of Rumi, who really have spent time receiving the truth and doing the work to return to their authentic selves and peeling the mask, going through the process of letting go of their attachments to their life, their identity, even their family. The numbers have grown so exponentially that there are so many who, just like me, just like you, can stand, sit, whatever, lay down, doesn't matter, can be in a state of knowingness that to pick a side is absolutely crazy. To pick a side between life and death, to pick a side between sports teams, to pick a side between countries, to pick a side between genders, between colors, races, is absolutely insane. And we have been sitting, holding the knowingness that all is God expressing itself. Either we're conscious that God is expressing itself, or we are unconscious, meaning we block what God brings, which is love and light, because there is only love and light. Darkness is the absence of light. There is no switch that you turn on or off for darkness. There's only a switch for light. If you turn the light on, you have light. If you turn the light off, there's an absence of light. You're not bringing the light in. But there is no place that you open up a valve and let dark inkiness come into your room. That doesn't exist in the world. You can say, oh, yeah, but nighttime is dark. Well, it's dark because it's an absence of the sun. And it's not an absence of the sun because the sun is not there. It's because the planet has rotated and turned its back on the sun. So when there is an absence of love, is because we have rotated and turned our back on God and decided I'm aligning with my character. And then the character is the block to love. Because if the character, like mine did, says, I am so angry with my mother, and I'm listening to that voice of that little girl that was upset with mother, with the things mother did or didn't do. My mom was not very involved with us as children growing up. She was more interested in her life. And after my dad left, she was more interested in her boyfriends. And we ended up living with my grandmother and a lot with my grandfather, mostly with my grandmother and my grandfather and his wife. So I cultivated a great relationship with my grandparents, which is why I love being a grandmother now, because I know what felt so wonderful about my relationship with my grandparents. So I get to do that from a place of awareness with my grandchild. But with my mother, because she was not there, I didn't have the examples of how to really be a present mother. I knew what I didn't want to be. So I became present, overly involved, overly participating, because of course, I didn't trust that life unfolds as it unfolds. All those things are things that I've learned now, or more recently, and since I started this journey. But I was active in my kid's life out of a resentment to my mother not being there. So when that energy of my character is activating the selfishness, I'm going to be a better mother than my mother was to me. And I'm operating from that. And that's what's moving me forward. It's all about greed. I want to be the best mom. It's not about what was best for my kids. Now, granted, I did a lot of things that were wonderful for my kids. My kids, if you were to ask them today, would tell you I was a great mom, because there was enough love and consciousness present there that was loving and tender. But there was also this greedy part of me, this selfish side of me that was doing things to make me right about how wrong my mother was in our upbringing. That energy mixed in with the energy of love and gentleness and was, it's what I needed to experience. But because ultimately my agreement with my mother to be the way she was and to die when she did was so that I could begin the process of waking up, so I could shift how I was being with my children. So I could relatively quickly, within a decade, I completely changed. My journey's only been 21 years. So the first 10 years was the 10 years of massive shifts and changes, looking at my beliefs and going through the pain, the process of discomfort of seeing how I had idolized so many people outside of me. I had given power away to others, my kid's dad, and then I remarried into this other man, Ken. So little by little, over 10 years, it took time. I questioned every belief that I had. I was willing to go there. I was willing to sit in the discomfort of seeing the contrast. Every thought that I had, if it activated fear, suffering, judgment, I looked at it and said, I don't want that anymore. Because those thoughts, yes, when I was unconscious, made me feel good because they inflated me. But then the judgments, the fears, I didn't want that because they blocked me from the peace that is my natural birthright, the peace that has always been there. But I turned my back on it because I preferred the drama and the righteousness, because it was normal. It's what I thought it's what I thought life was about. There wasn't an absence of peace in me. I just didn't focus on it because my attention went to what my ego was having me focus on. So this journey through A Course in Miracles was a powerful, powerful part of my journey. Now, for me, A Course in Miracles came around the 10-year mark, where it was time for me. By then I knew about the ego. I taught about the ego. I knew I'd already had experiences with God that were absolutely transcendent. I knew the truth. I was solidified in the truth. So when the Course came around for me, it made perfect sense. What the Course was helping me do was to move beyond my spiritualized ego, because one of the things that has been done, and it's a marvelous thing, the New Age movement, the all love and light and spirit and all of that, it's absolutely beautiful and wonderful. But it gets the ego to identify with the spiritual self that is too good for anything dark, that is too good for conflict. But it's really quick to pick a side. I'm going to pick this side because these are the loving people. Those are the bad people. So I had to move through that spiritualized ego, just like all of us have to. So for me, the last 10 years has been the process of undoing the spiritual ego. First, it was to understand that I had an ego and to realize that there was a difference between God and the ego. And then it's been to be vigilant for only the kingdom of God, be vigilant for only love. And this particular lesson that we're not on a lesson, we're in the text in A Course in Miracles, still in chapter 30. You can't rush through A Course in Miracles. This is profound information. Chapter 30, the new beginning. Humanity has a decade to make a choice. Are you going to be part of the new beginning? Or are you going to continue to solidify yourself in the egoic sense of self, selfish, greedy, all about me, and fear? So we are seeing the conflicts all around the world. There are tons of conflicts all around the world. Now, the media just shows you the ones that they want you to focus on, but there's conflicts in your own home. There's a conflict in your own mind where you think you're schizophrenic and you're battling the thoughts that are aligned with love and surrender and peace and God and joy, and the one that tells you, no, but you have to be responsible and you've got to do things this way. And this is, you protect your assets and protect your this. So we all have an internal battle. Then we have battles in the family. We have battles in the community. We have battles in our country. We have battles around the world. The new beginning is to use those battles for your alignment with God in service to the greater good. Meaning, what can I learn about this so I stop repeating the same insane things, expecting a different result? Going to war is insane because it's doing the same thing and wanting peace from it. War does not bring peace. We've been brainwashed into believing that war is what maintains peace. War is what has us experience the absence of peace, because war means that we're indoctrinated into believing that there are two sides and that one is right and the other one is wrong. And the one that's wrong, well, we're going to teach him a lesson. But you can't teach a lesson to anybody unless you are the example of that lesson. You have to live the peace and then be the example of the change you want to see in the world. All of those sayings have a purpose, and to question them and to really dive deep into them and to really want to embody the truth of who you really are requires an incredible amount of courage. And I have to say, most people have zero courage. They say they want to become enlightened, but have very little courage. I shouldn't say zero, little courage. They'll read a spiritual book, but then they don't want to really see their ego. And right now, all of the intensity that is happening on the planet is to give us all opportunities. How bad does the lesson need to get? Do we need to have another world war, crazy, whatever you call those things? I don't even know the names of those things. I don't keep up with them. Atomic bombs or whatever. Do we need to go there? Well, thankfully, there is enough that will not let us go there. However, internally, everybody has to do the inner work. The new beginning is only possible for those who stop living the old life, who stop living the old character. Aren't you tired of your character? I was so tired of my character. The new beginning is in alignment with who you really are, is to finally stop blocking the love, the light, the truth, the peace that we are, the creativity, the desire to collaborate and co-create and cooperate. That is what's natural. We block that because we believed all these things that we were indoctrinated with. So in this section that we've been reading, and we are in section number 4, the truth behind illusions. To wake up, you need to know the truth that's behind the illusions. You need to understand what holds the illusion together. And this comes after we spent some time looking at the previous section, which was all about idols. When we project power outside of us, we perpetuate the illusion. The truth behind the illusion is that there is a power within you. Don't look outside of yourself for power. Don't look outside of yourself to be happy. I look to my mom to make me happy. So then I made myself the idol to my children. I'll make you happy. I will make sure that you have this, that, or the other. And I am the one who knows what's best for you. So that perpetuation of illusions is something that we have to come to terms with. When you value something outside of yourself as being more powerful than you being your source of safety, if money is your source of safety, if a partner is your source of wholeness and completion, if the government is your source of being able to retire and have peace, if the medical establishment is your source of healing, you have created idols. But we all have, because we've all been taught since the time we were itty bitty, look outside of yourself. Well, the new beginning is a world of people who are inner guided, and they only operate from listening to the voice within. They only listen to their guidance, and that guidance, because it's loving, is going to guide us all to connect with the people who assist us in, for a while, doing things in the world that, doing your finances in the world, doing your food in the world, the medical in the world, the education, with a higher degree of integrity, with a higher awareness, more expanded awareness that we are all one, that nobody is better than the other, that the teacher is not to be idolized, that the teacher is just as important as the students because they're all equal, bringing forth different gifts. That is the new beginning that is possible for us. Yes, I do medical stuff, healing stuff that I believe in, but it's absolutely outside of the norm. I don't go outside to an authority to tell me. I decided when I heard about this thing that I do like to do, I felt into it. And internally, I gotta, do it. I didn't have to read pamphlets or medical stuff. I simply knew this is right for me. So I'm inner guided. My food that I eat, the water that I drink, I feel it. And it's never a right, wrong, good, bad. It's always a, that feels like the thing that I should do, or no, it doesn't feel like the thing I should do. I don't operate with judgment like I used to. It's just not part of what is possible when you're connected to everything. And if I'm connected to everything, then this medical thing that I may say no to, I'm just as connected to it. I just can feel, no, that's not for me. This one, oh yeah, that one is for me, because I go inside to the ultimate authority for me. So in this paragraph, this is paragraph number 6. Appearances can but deceive the mind that wants to be deceived. I tell you, when I look at A Course in Miracles, it is filled with truth bombs. It is absolutely filled with so much freaking wisdom. It amazes me. So many lines that make you go, what? So let's break it down. Appearances can but deceive the mind that wants to be deceived. If you are looking at something outside of you and you decide, oh, that's it. That's the person who's going to save me. That's the amount of money that is going to make me safe. The appearance of a person out there, because it's all made up, it's all consciousness, it's just wearing a mask. The appearance of that mask to save you, to help you, to keep you safe, is your decision to be deceived. Because once you understand that the only truth is available within you, you've got to connect to God in you, which is such an amazing thing. What an incredible plan. We've been looking for love outside of ourselves in all the wrong places. We've been looking for God in all the wrong places, in this building, in that synagogue, in that temple, in that trail in nature, in that book, in this workshop. But all along, it's in you. So whether it's nature or the synagogue or the temple or the ashram, or wherever you happen to be, the book that you're reading, the movie that you're watching, the song that you're singing, is just an experience outside of you to activate the frequency of the God, the love, the truth that is in you. So I remember early in my journey, I would have these ahas and I would think, oh my God, an aha, I got truth from that person. And then I realized, whoa, all ahas were nothing more than an indicator that I had remembered something that was true. I remembered it. So it got activated in me. It's as if the outside acts as a tuning fork that then on the inside, I have a resonance. And then that match is because I remembered something true. So are we deceived by externals? Only if we want to. Nothing outside, when you go on this journey, has the power to over you now, except for the power that you give it. Again, when you start this journey, you understand, you learn that. So much of the world still doesn't know this. So many are being played. Now, at a spiritual level, from the highest level, at that soul level, they're not being played. They came in to have that script because those were the lessons. Those were the classrooms that were going to help them wake up or not. So nobody in the grand scheme is being played. But when we take and break things into all that is, and then in the world, the 5D, nobody's been played, the 3D, yes, as an innocent child, I was indoctrinated with all kinds of things that I've had to spend a lot of my adult life peeling off of me, like layers of an onion, peeling off until I could get to the heart of me. So yes, at the 3D level, we have to take responsibility for the fact that the world is most of the world is still under an illusion that the outside has power. So we deal with it accordingly. But at the same time, because it's a paradox, there is nobody who is being played because all volunteer to incarnate in this world as it is at this time, knowing fully well what the script was going to be all about. But our free will is that we are totally free to choose if we will follow the path of God or the path of ego. So we have that free will. So let me keep reading. So appearances can but deceive the mind that wants to be deceived. And you can make a simple choice that will forever place you far beyond deception. It's one simple choice. You need not concern yourself with how this will be done. For this, you cannot understand. You cannot understand. I couldn't, that a transformation was happening in me, was going to happen in me, that was going to pop me on the other side of this 21-year journey, a totally, completely different being. One who is completely committed to truth, who operates in this world, but not of it. I had no idea. I thought I was just going to become enlightened and I was going to attract all kinds of amazing things and money and blah, blah, blah. I thought my life was going to just be fun and easy, but all 3D, 5D, totally different story. But to get to that, we go through a 4D process of transformation. And fourth dimensional meaning, you begin to see two sides and you begin to pick. 5D, there's no choice. 5D, you just are what you are. You're the presence of love, period. Now, are there moments that the ego comes in? Oh, sure. And it says things and I get, but then I'm going, that's not my choice. There's no choice over here. I observe that and go, interesting. Okay. And you go back to being what you are. You're not choosing between the two because this one makes no sense. You just be what you are. So don't concern yourself with how you're going to wake up. Just concern yourself with learning the distinction between your ego and God, between what is the illusion and what is reality. The work is to understand the contrast. But where you end up later on, I could not back then understand what was happening to me. No way. But you will understand that mighty changes have been quickly brought about when you decide one very simple thing. You do not want whatever you believe an idol gives you. Once you decide, I don't want what any authority outside of me is giving me. I don't want it. The reason being is that I'm still looking outside of myself. So I don't want their peace. I don't want their compliments telling me that I'm so good at this, because all idols that we have created from our ego, if they accept the position as idol, that they are better than, that they know more than, they are coming from their ego as well. So they're not interested in you. They're interested in themselves. And when you say, oh, I'm interested in what you have to say, it's because you're selfish too. You want whatever they've got to give to make you better. And they've got whatever they're trying to give you, so it helps them. So we are learning how we have been so manipulative, so we've been using one another for so many different reasons, that we have to get to the place that we get so honest, really honest. Am I with you because I'm trying to get something out of you? Am I with you? And that's a very uncomfortable place to be. That's where, when I went through my divorce, I had to see, oh my goodness, I'm only staying with this person because I need them. I need the financial support or the whatever. And that's when I had to realize, you know what? I'm trusting that Ken's going to provide financial support. What about all that I'm able to do through the work that I do because I let God move through me? And that shift, it was so tempting because the ego says, but look what you have over here. You've got, all these worldwide travels, and you've got a lake house, and you've got the beautiful home. And over here, well, you don't know who's going to show up to a workshop. You don't know who's going to call you for coaching. You don't know any of that. And it ebbs and it flows. But there's peace over here. There's lies and deceit and conflict over here. Sure, maybe all that's happening while you're at a beautiful lake house. But what about peace within? Even if you're living in a rented room in somebody's house, isn't this more important? So when you begin to see that you have to make a decision, what do you value? To let go of the ego is to let go of your attachments to not only you, the persona that you have constructed, who you think you are. I'm the mom, I'm the daughter, I'm the brother, I'm the sister, I'm the boss. But also to all of the things that you think that you need to make you safe, to make you happy. When you begin to value happiness no matter what, and the external begins to become inconsequential, that you are just as happy anywhere you're at, like has been taught to us by so many. Specifically, not too long ago, here in the 1970s in the US, Peace Pilgrim, a woman who felt the love of God and said, you know what, I'm going to walk this country trusting that I'm going to find the food that I need, the shelter that I need when I need it. She stepped out in total and complete faith. If you haven't seen that story, at the very least, Google it and watch her story. For 20 some odd years, she walked the country, and it got to the point that people were expecting her. They knew she was walking from one town to the next, and she was always taken care of. All her needs always met. Somebody had a room for her, clean clothes for her, a washing machine to wash her clothes, something. She trusted, and for 20 plus years walked around as a pilgrim teaching about peace. We have the ability to have that experience, but we have to make a choice. So as it says in here, it's so simple. But you will understand what mighty changes have been quickly brought about when you decide one very simple thing. You do not want whatever you believe an idol gives. For thus the Son of God declares that he is free of idols, and thus is she free. When I made my decision that I was only going to be vigilant for the kingdom of God, that I was only going to be vigilant to the truth that I knew I was feeling, the experiences that I was having, feeling God within, that I knew I have to go to that place inside of me where I will find that which is eternal, that returns me to my truth, to the knowingness of what is ultimately real that cannot be threatened. Things began to accelerate. The shifts, the changes began to accelerate. Now, on the outside, people can look at my life, and I don't care if they do. Oh, but she's not successful. She doesn't have a New York Times bestseller. She doesn't have this. She doesn't have that many followers. To my ego, that's what was going to be, oh my God, I have arrived to enlightenment when all those things happen. But what I realized is that the ego when it gets spiritualized, still wants to be number one in the world. It's still selfish. It's still about me. And life had a different, my script was written. It was not about Laina. It is about God expressing itself through this character. I'm not attached to Laina and what anybody thinks about Laina, because that does not matter. What matters is that I be the essence, the presence, the example of what love incarnated looks like. And that means I accept that I am the child of God. And in that knowing, not that I'm the child separate from God, but I am birthed as God's desire for expression. That's what the child of God means. Created in the image of the Creator. So being the child of God simply means that I and the Father, Mother, God are one. That I am it expressing itself. So I place authority there to the Creator that created me, and I as its expression, as its child, as its creation, as its masterpiece, just like you, no different than you, have chosen to live strictly on this planet as a bringer of love and truth. That means compassionate, kind, gentle, helpful, collaborating, discerning what is low vibration and what is not. And if it's low vibration, that is, I'm not being called to be there and serve. I just move away and love them no matter what. No judgment. Acceptance. Okay, you guys want to kill yourself in the Middle East? That's okay. You're not going to get any judgment from me because I'm not picking sides. But where I am guided to be in service, where there's something that is low vibration, it's because it's a call for love. If there is an accident, if there is a move, if there is a challenge, and God knows they are happening around me. I've got children in this world. So in the 3D world, I have constant real life physical examples of situations that are uncomfortable for many that are involved in them. And what do? I just bring the truth to it. If they cannot hear what I'm saying because they don't believe what I'm saying, or they don't understand what I'm saying because that's not what they have opened their minds to, then I just love them and hug them. But if they're on this path, I remind them, there is no death. You're not a victim. You're not better than. It's such a different reality, but it's so peaceful. It's so rich. It's so incredible to know the truth and to live by the truth and to observe the world from that place of knowing what is real that cannot be threatened and what is unreal that ultimately does not exist. I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world. So thank you, Mom, that you left when I was 41 so that in my 60s, I can be grounded in such incredible knowingness. It's just amazing. All right, so let's open this up. Does anybody have any comments, anything that you want to share that touched you, moved you, questions, comments? Doesn't matter. And even if you don't unmute yourselves, I know everybody usually is busy. Maybe you're listening to this while you're in the midst of doing other things and not in a place that you can comment. Drop me a line. You can put a comment in. I put all these messages on YouTube. You can always leave a comment there. So thank you all so much for coming. Since nobody's unmuting themselves, I'll just say goodbye. See you next week. I love you all. Thank you for being here. And from the bottom of my heart, I thank you for being one who is committed to the path of awakening. No matter where on that path you're at, thank you. Thank you for being on that path, because you are the change we want to see in the world. Love you all. Bye-bye.